Hey there, it's me, Billy V, and you're watching MCNsports.tv. And this is Triple B, Bill's Boxing Beat. And I got a very special guest here today, as promised. We have none other than the future heavyweight champion of the world, Amir Hardcore Mansour, joining us.
I welcome the challenge, obviously, you know, but we're prepared to go the distance whenever that happens. We're going to be prepared, God willing.
I got just the guy for you. All right, I'm serious now. There's a fighter, his name is Malik Scott. He's a heavyweight. He is 32-0.
32-0, should have been got a title shot.
Oh, you know him,
I know
okay.
Malik very well. Malik knows me very well.
Okay.
Me and Malik used to spar when he first turned pro. Tall, long, fast. I like Malik Scott. I think Malik Scott deserves his shot.
But here's why Malik Scott has never gotten a shot. He's boring. He goes in the ring and he jabs and jabs and jabs, and he does everything to avoid getting hit. And his fights, he wins, but he's boring, so there's no demand to see him fight for a championship.
Right, but the guy been winning, man, for the last past 9 years.
Right.
He's been winning, you know, 32-0.
Right.
And
Well, how
he's
can you
young.
be a heavyweight in today's world where there's so few good heavyweights and be 32-0 and not get a title
Poor
shot?
management.
I don't think it's management. I think it's because he's boring.
God, every time that I can lace up the gloves, go out there and, you know, make people laugh, smile, and giggle. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. Boxing's about opening doors.
First of all, you talk about making people laugh and giggle through boxing.
I mean, look, there's a lot of.
Huh?
Listen, there's a lot of stories, Billy, that I can tell you in boxing.
As far as making people laugh, though, your nickname is No Joke. So you're not supposed to tell jokes or make people laugh.
No, right? I'm not supposed to make them laugh, but you know, you always try to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying, Bill? And you know.
But you're angry right now. You seem very angry about the commission and about this particular judge that has voted against you or gone against you in 4 fights. And
well, you know what? I've put a complaint.
Well, you know, Klitschko's jab, his jab is out of this world. But I think, you know, for someone to get to be able to beat him, you know, with him being so long and tall and all that, you got to get inside it and break him down. But you got to do it quick. You got to get in and you got to get out.
Right.
Because, you know, once he starts landing, he's such a big, strong guy that, you know, not too much you can do. You know, it's hard to recover from getting hit with it, you know, by a big guy like that.
exactly. In fact, I was demonstrating. I was showing you got to be like a Joe Frazier, you know, coming down, get down underneath his punches, work the body, then come up to the head with the hook, you know.
Right.
Can you do that?
I can do it. What do you want me to do here? I can do it.
Let me see you do it.
I definitely go with a guy, do it with a guy like that.
What I want to do today is something a little different. Not so much talk about boxing, which we love to do, but today we want to show you about boxing, all right? Some demonstration action, because we got a trainer here. Nobody can seem to get close to Vladimir Klitschko. So what I want to do is have you show me a little bit about, you know, how you get inside a guy with that kind of reach. So, because I got this reach, right? And I'm hitting you with the jab. If you try to jab me, it's going to come short, right? So when I go to jab you, what should David Haye have done? All he did was stay out and get hit with the jab and try these right-hand bombs that didn't land.
David Haye, what he wanted to do, and what if I've got a shorter guy, what we got to do with a long man is get inside.
Right.
Watch Mike Tyson get inside.
Right.
All of his fights.
Joe Frazier.
Joe Frazier, absolutely. A lot of head movement, a lot of this, and you see that jab coming, and put yourself inside.
Yeah.
And now there's your shots here.
Yeah. But you touched on a point that's exactly where I wanted to take this, which is that Klitschko has a lot of technique. He's got good, solid technique, but he does have a couple mistakes that nobody has really capitalized on, as far as I can see. And one is that he does go straight back.
He does.
So when you throw that big right hand, right, he steps straight back. And if you follow it with a left hook, you could hit him. If you followed it with, and isn't that the first thing a trainer teaches a guy when they walk in the gym? First one is how to throw a jab, and second one is throw the jab, the right, and then come back
Make
with
it a
the left
combination.
hook.
Yeah. Put more punches together.
And so few heavyweights today do that.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Things you mentioned there. Let's go back first of all to the very beginning. Dick's Sporting Goods. What, you're fighting in the store?
No, it was just me, my friend Ryan, and my friend James. I remember perfectly. And you know, he was sitting there beating up on a beat me up Bob, stupid little machines without the arms, and it was just a joke. And Ryan, we were right next to boxing gloves, and he said, "I'll buy a pair, you buy a pair, and let's see what happens." I was like, all right, we were only, what, 18 at the time?
Yeah.
So it was kind of just went from a joke to, we went back to the house, and we started squaring up, straight boxing rules, and then, you know, start fighting everyone on the streets, basically, boxing style.
I did the same thing when I was young. When I was about 14, right? I'd buy a pair of boxing gloves, and my best buddy who lived upstairs from me, we go down the basement and we slug it out. But the thing of it was, I always kept score. And he let me keep score, and I'd always say, "Jimmy, you know, you fought hard, but you lost the decision."
Yeah, exactly. It's hard when you're fighting a friend to keep a score like that. "Oh, I hit you and you spun around," and then that they count things like that.
Well, who's they? What, you had like a third friend keeping score?
Oh yeah, it's not. No, he and I are the ones fighting, but then you know you got 10 other friends around you watching.
Oh, okay.
And then after you get done with him, you fight another one of the friends. You know, whoever's talking to crap. So that's how it always works. It's just a big joke, and then.
See, with my friend, it was just me and him, so I was the scorekeeper.
Oh, yeah,
What I'm going to pick on is The Fighter, which was a great movie, no question about it. But the movie The Fighter ends with Irish Mickey Ward winning a world championship. And the question is, what championship did he win? And the answer is, well, none, really. Unless you want to count something called the World Boxing Union Light Welterweight title. Whatever that is. But the announcers on HBO, they didn't even consider that worth mentioning. If you YouTube the Mickey Ward fight against Shea Neary, you find that they don't even mention this so-called title. The fact is that they did point out that his win over Neary might propel him into a fight with Arturo Gatti. They said, well, this sets him up for a big fight with Arturo Gatti. And of course, it was the trilogy of fights between Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti that really defined Mickey Ward's career. There is some talk, Mark Wahlberg definitely wants to do a sequel to The Fighter, and this time they would get into the Mickey Ward, Arturo Gatti 3 fights. I'm not sure how you would do that because Ward won the first one and then Gatti won the last 2. Would you end the movie with Ward losing? I don't know. You know, that's certainly not a Hollywood ending. Although Rocky lost 3 fights out of his 6 movies, so I guess you could do it. Gunboat Smith must have been a decent fighter. There's no film of him, but he probably was a pretty good fighter, and he beat Jess Willard. In 1914, Willard had 3 fights, one of which he lost to a guy named Tom McMahon. Tom McMahon was not a good fighter. Tom McMahon had lost his 3 previous fights, and then he beats Jess Willard. Somehow, despite those 2 losses in 2 years, including a loss to a nobody like Tom McMahon, Jess Willard is still the man who's chosen to fight for the heavyweight championship in 1915 against Jack Johnson. And as we check out the video of that Johnson-Willard fight, Willard basically was a great white hope. They had set this thing up because they wanted Jack Johnson beat. So it was set for 45 rounds. You ever hear of a fight being scheduled for 45 rounds? Nowhere in the entire 20th century was a fight scheduled for 45 rounds. And the idea was Johnson was 37 years old, and he was sure to fade in the late rounds. All they needed was a fighter in Willard who could take his early punishment from Johnson and not get knocked out and last until Johnson starts to fade, and that's what he did. Right here in the 26th round, as Johnson was really fading in the 100+ degree heat in Havana, Cuba, he got caught by a right hand from Willard, and he went out, and he was out, and Jess Willard was the new champion. But it really was pretty much a setup to get rid of the first black champion. It wasn't because Jess Willard was any great shakes as a fighter. All right, after winning the title, Willard then fights one title defense against Frank Moran, which interestingly enough was only scheduled for 10 rounds, and it was a no-decision fight. So he didn't win, he didn't lose. He then disappeared for 3 years and didn't fight. Now he comes back to defend his title against Jack Dempsey. So when Willard defends the title against Jack Dempsey, Willard is 37 years old, and he hadn't fought in 3 years. And Dempsey's the little guy in the white trunks. Willard, of course. Now, granted, Willard outweighed Jack Dempsey by 50, 60 pounds. Dempsey's only 188. And when Dempsey comes with this combination and puts Willard on the canvas, everybody is shocked and amazed. And everybody writes about what an incredible champion Jack Dempsey was to put Jess Willard away. But the thing that nobody ever mentioned when they talk about this fight is that Jess Willard was 37 years old and hadn't fought in 3 years. What Larry Tornambi brought with him today, his own bobblehead figure. And
I didn't grow up with a goatee.
now, now wait a minute, hold it. All right, well, hold it. You're saying that the bobblehead doesn't look like you because you don't have the goatee.
No, I didn't say that.
All
I
right.
said I don't look like the bobblehead because I don't have the
You
goatee.
don't look like the bobblehead. Now,
Go
the
ahead.
fact that the bobblehead has hair and you don't,
Well, the bobblehead
Does
didn't
that
get a
make-
haircut yesterday.
and the bobblehead's hair is all brown and yours is all gray.
Well, there's a light on top of that grayish.
And other than that, it looks exactly like you.
does.
Except for it doesn't have a goatee.
It does. You can tell by the microphone.
And that's hard to fight from outside when the other guy is 6'6" and has a long reach and a quick jab. And he has mobility, and as everybody that has sparred with him has told me, he's extremely strong.
Yeah, I would believe that. Sure.
So, that means he has a lot going for him, and he's tough to beat. But if you fight a smarter fight, you might have a chance to beat him. If you stay outside right at the end of his jab and right hand, you're not going to beat him.
And it's going to sting more. That's where the punches hurt the most. When you're right at the end of that, because when you jab, you turn it over at the last second to get those knuckles in there, and that's where the snap comes from. And if you're right there, he doesn't even have to put any effort behind the jab. And yeah, you snap right on the chin, and everything kind of goes black, and you see stars, literally.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Halle Berry and Carmen Electra. I'm not talking about those kind of stars.
There are male stars too, Larry, but you don't apparently mention any of them.
Little Vargus.
Now that's funny.
You get hit on the end of the chin, and you're seeing black background with white stars.
Have you ever been in what Ali called the room? You get hit with a good shot and everything starts to move real slowly.
My name is painted on the inside of that
If you
wall.
injure your toe 3 weeks before the fight, and you decide you're going to continue to go through with the fight, at least stop talking all this junk about how you're going to kill this guy,
Right.
right? I mean, that's kind of a classic foot in your mouth scenario, isn't it?
Maybe that's what he did. He bit his toe. I'm surprised, and if I was the Klitschko brother, either one of them, I would have looked at him afterward and said, I said I was going to beat you. I told you so. I got to get him at least once. What's one of those?
Yeah, with all that talking he did, he really got himself into kind of a toe jam.
And it's on. Next.
How about the time we were doing the fight, our first time working together on Friday Night Fights, and we had a draw. And I said, well, they say a draw is like kissing your sister.
And I say, I've kissed your sister, Bill, and it's not all bad.
That was pretty good.